Hi, Lauren.
Hi, Leora. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Good. I'm great.
So, congratulations on another thrilling, cinematic, and expansive, but also very intimate season of The Witcher. So, I read in the editing process there's a scene between Ciri and Vesemir that always made you cry. So, I'm curious, what was it about that scene that really touched you? And are there other scenes that really surprised and delighted you?
Oh, absolutely. That particular scene is Vesemir telling Ciri about the history of the Witchers and sort of how they began, and for Vesemir how he's imagining that they will end. And to me, I mean, it's one of the tragedies of Vesemir is that he has lived his life for this sole purpose, and he's watching as that purpose slowly dies away, and he's beginning to wonder what his role will be in the future and what the role of the Witchers will be in the future. And Bodnia, who played Vesemir, relaying that story to Ciri with such both emotion and empathy, but also this kind of distance that Kim does beautifully. There's a barrier there because he's afraid of being hurt again, and so he wants to have a little bit of hope, but he also has to self-protect. And then for Freya shooting that scene, I think Ciri hearing all of that, learning that, and learning that she could actually change the course of destiny, and that pressure, putting that pressure on a young girl and having her choose in that moment. I just thought it was an incredible scene. And it's one that honestly, we weren't sure that we were going to be able to shoot that day. It was huge. It was a scene that had been, the order of the schedule had been changed because of COVID. It had been pulled way up. No one felt quite prepared for it. And we went back and forth about whether to shoot it. And I think because no one was quite prepared, it has an emotional rawness to it and such a sense of depth and reality. And I just think Freya and Kim knocked it out of the park.
I completely agree. So I read because there are four mages' names unaccounted for in the marble plaque at Aretusa that they put in a variation of your name on there. So I'm curious, what other Easter eggs should people watch out for?
Hilariously, there are four names, and each of them are mine included. Names that are people sort of on my group in the writer producer group, which was really funny to put in there. I think one of the best Easter eggs that fans will love is Jaskier talking to the dock guard in episode 4, where the dock guard really gets to take on the voice of the audience a little bit and gets to sort of lay into Jaskier some things that he hasn't so much loved about how Jaskier is telling the story. Those are such a pure joy to put in. I think the audience is going to love it, and for us, we loved being able to do it. I think it's really important that we stay really self-aware and we have a tongue-in-cheekness to us. That's what makes The Witcher slightly different than other stories.
Mm-hmm. Now, there's no denying the popularity of The Witcher season 1. I'm curious, were there fan reactions that surprised you?
Yes. I mean, when you craft something this big that you know has such a fan base, but by the way, a really passionate and opinionated fan base, you never know if they're going to come along for the ride or not. There was every chance that they could watch it and say, "This isn't my Witcher. This isn't how I imagined the books. Where did that new character come from? Why aren't these people meeting? I thought they should meet. Why don't they have the right color of hair?" There's a lot happening there. And so what I was so surprised with is that people were willing to come along with us on the journey, both book fans, video game fans, and people who've never heard of The Witcher before. So the greatest surprise is that so many people watched it and loved it. And I have to say, my big fear going into season 2 was that it had been 2 years since we last launched. And, because of the global pandemic and because of various shutdowns, and were fans still going to care? And it's so exciting to see that people do.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for the art that you bring into the world, Lauren. I really appreciate it. Happy holidays.
Thank you. You
Thank
as
you.
well. Good chatting with you.